should have a little bit of funding left for, I'm trying to think what the other project is, but that pretty much exhausts, most of the ARP. We're gonna use all of the ARP this year. I think this year you have to dedicate, and encumber all of your ARP funds, and we will be doing that this year. So we have no more ARP, we won't have any more ARP funds after this year. We've exhausted about at the end of this year, it'll be about $2.6 million. So we will give you a list of all of the projects, things we've worked on. With that money, I'll have a list for you, hopefully in the next, month or so, before the budget's approved. And I think that summarizes the extent of what we have. That's it.
All right, council, do you have any questions for the finance director or the city manager on those items, TERS, CBDG, or ARP? Okay, all right, thank you very much, finance director. Moving on to our public hearing section of our meeting tonight. It is now 7:25. We are in open session for a public hearing. This is to request a conditional use permit for Robert Maldonado to place a 28 by 48 98 manufactured home on his property located at 420 South Apple. We have legal description which follows. City Secretary, you have the floor.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Planning and Zoning Commission was able to convene yesterday. No negative responses, no calls, no visits to the office or anything. The only concern that they did have, which is actually item 9A, is the placement of the mobile home. It is a double wide and it is a corner lot. So they just want to ensure that the front of the mobile home is going to be at least 15 feet back from the front property line off of Medina Street. That was the only stipulation that they did place.
And the will of the planning and zoning?
They did recommend placement with that stipulation.
Okay. Council, you, this is an open hearing, so I guess we can discuss later when we go to an action item, but is there anybody that has a desire to speak on this issue? Is there anybody that has a desire to speak on this issue? Hearing none, I'm going to close the session. Close the public hearing. It is 7:27. It is 7:27. I'm going to open into a public hearing again for item 7E on a request for conditional use permit for Julia Quilamaco to place an 18 by 76 98 manufactured home on her property located at 1324 West Colorado. Property description as follows. City Secretary, you have the floor.
Okay, again, Planning and Zoning Commission was able to convene last night. No negative responses, no visits, no emails, no phone calls either. This particular property, I myself did request a stipulation. I don't think we reviewed this property with them, Mr. Reyes, did we? Okay. This used to be the old Morales Auto Repair Tire Shop, so there is a lot of tires. We have met with her a couple of times. I did ask the stipulation that if they were going to prove it, that they add that she continue to clean up the back of the property. She's made huge strides with the front of it, but we do want to see the back end of that property maintained, kept up, and cleared out.
There has been historically a lot of tires there, probably in the hundreds.
Yes. Tire disposal is not cheap, but she is doing it in small increments.
So how can we ensure that that will be completed?
Getting code enforcement on consistently out there.
It's been a struggle with that for the past 2 years. Again, the citations, again, it's ultimately, and I've talked to her, we've talked, and she's, at one time, it was struck off, that property was struck off to the county and to the city, to the entities. That property stayed that way for several years.
Yes,
At the last
Councilwoman Garza.
thing that we had, didn't you say in order for them to put it, that everything had to be clean? Wasn't that one of the stipulations before, now that Crystal's saying that? If I recall correctly?
Yeah.
That all that stuff had to, because of the fire hazard stuff, all those tires had to be moved before somebody could put something on there?
It is something on that in council you have to consider. It's not, as far as a stipulation, it's basically a consideration. If you don't want to approve again, it's a conditional use.
I'm just asking because I was trying to remember what I had said about that.
It is something on our end, where she has to clean on it. She's been trying to live there. She's I don't want to get into details and get into her personal stuff, but she has come here several times trying to get something to approved, and we've denied several requests.
Yes.
So this is what she's come to us, that we want to bring before council, but you have the discretion to either approve it or not approve it.
Okay, council, is there anyone that wishes to discuss this item in open session? Is there anyone wishing to discuss this item in open session? Hearing no one, I will close open session. It is 7:30. Okay, this is a consent item, item 8A, approval of the July 11th and the July 31st meeting minutes. This is consent item, so I'm gonna ask for a motion in a second. You guys should have had a chance to review those. Got a motion by, I'm sorry, I missed it. Councilman Leal, may I have a second by Councilwoman Trevino. Having a chance to review, I'm gonna go ahead and ask for any questions. Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Going on to item 9, notice that these are all action items. This is new business. Action 9A, action on a land use variance special exception application submitted by Mr. Robert Maldonado, 420 South Apple, Pearsall, Texas, property described as such. This is an action item. Council, what is your pleasure?
I'll make a motion to go with the recommended
The recommendation
stipulation
from planning and zoning?
from planning and zoning.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor by Councilman Leal to go with the recommendation of the planning and zoning, which is to approve with a 15-foot setback.
Offer to be district.
Yes, okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second by Councilman Trevino. Is there any questions? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Councilwoman. Moving on to item 9B, discuss and consider ordinance number 20230801, authorizing the placements of a 28 by 48 manufactured home on the property located at South Apple. This is in conjunction with item 9A. Council, moving forward, do you want to make the same motion to approve?
Motion for ordinance number 2023-08-01.
Got it. I got a motion by Councilman Leal. May I have a second? Second by Councilwoman Talamontes. Is there any questions? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. All right, thank you very much. Moving on to item 9C, discuss and consider ordinance number 20230802, authorizing the placement of an 18 by 76 98 model manufactured home on the property located at 1324 West Colorado. Property legal description as follows. This is the second item we just reviewed belonging to Mrs. Culimaco. Council, what is your pleasure?
I would like to ask Crystal a question before or anyone makes a motion.
Fire away, Councilman Leal.
The tires that are in the rear of the property, or the back of the property,
Yes.
is it something that can be accomplished within weeks?
I myself would not feel comfortable giving an answer to that because as a staff member, I'm not allowed to go onto private property. We did get an aerial view from, our tax attorneys. There is quite a bit,
The answer is no.
yeah.
I like
You
your
want to say
honesty.
anything? Yeah, like,
Because, I mean, in all honesty, I understand someone's trying to put a home there,
Correct.
trying to live there. But once they put it there,
Sir?
who's gonna force the cleanness, to clean it out?
It's a concept. Go ahead.
The only thing I would, I don't know if Ms. Reyes would, beg to differ. The only potential part that we would have is the utilities. Either
So the utility.
comply with what we've set, what council has set forth and what planning and zoning has recommended. And, I did speak to her actually this morning. She called and she followed up and I did say, I asked for this stipulation. She was like, yes. She said she understood. Again, that's the private conversation, but the only part that council would have on their hand is the utilities.
Bobby,
Is there
If she becomes
opportunity for the
non-compliant, we shut off.
Bobby, what's the legal side of cutting someone's utilities as far as for not complying with a stipulation we put for them putting a mobile home on their property?
I couldn't hear you, I'm sorry.
What's the legal side of the city being able to cut someone's utilities for not complying with the stipulation?
There's no problem doing so, so long as it's fair and uniformly and equally apply, no problem. If it's a code enforcement issue, you don't even have to make that a stipulation, you just enforce the codes. So that's why, that's how you distinguish, because the tires, if it's an issue unrelated to the stipulation, it doesn't need to be a stipulation, the code just needs to be enforced.
It is I'll share this with you, we've gone back and forth with her, she should have been an attorney. But it's saying that it's probably around $15,000 to $25,000 worth of work. I'm saying hauling tires, doing what you have to do, and I'm saying that's how many tires. Her position, and I don't wanna speak for, because she's not here, is that at one time, though, that property belonged to taxing entities, we did nothing. I'm sharing that so you'll know. And now well, now we want to enforce it after, and her, she's saying, well, why didn't you guys clean it up the time, that you guys owned it, right, if you will, we took possession of the property. Now, she went and bought it back, I can go into the whole history of that, or the history of the property. It stayed in the family, I'll put it to you that way, the city took it back, whatever, the school district. But that's her position, and she's cleaning up a little at a time. She's asked for the city to help, but again, our help is, we're talking, we do the tire roundup, we spend $5,000 a load, and we're usually talking 3 loads, 4 loads maybe, I don't know, depending on the number of tires. So about at least $15,000 for just to clean the tires. And so that's where that, and it's a nuisance, no doubt, there is no doubt. And to Bobby's point, we could, as far as enforcement of the ordinance, we can issue the citation. There's still gonna be that, well, we still have the tires, and we've had them there for, I would say, at least 10 years, maybe longer, but.
My only thing with that is that if we do that to this person, okay, all the, everything that's happened thus far has been put out there for everybody to see, everybody of course knows, the situation. If we do that and we try to cut off the utilities and things like that, then we're gonna face the backlash. Well, why aren't you doing it to this person, this person, this person? And then that puts us, out there saying, oh, well, they're just, we all know what they're gonna say. They're gonna say, well, they're just doing it to me because they don't like me, but yet this person has a dirty yard and isn't cleaning it up and they're not doing it to them. That's my only concern with that one.
But we're not talking about that, we're talking about putting a mobile home, that's the difference, versus just having a dirty yard. It's a difference about putting a mobile home and having a hazard. That's the difference.
Yeah, and I understand that, I understand the hazard.
And it has to be consistency all the way across. If you don't have consistency,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the thing they're gonna say, well, if they're doing it to me, why aren't they doing it to other people? And that's where, I guess, compliance comes,
Well, at this stage, then, the option would be to clean up the tires, and then would be consistent, which allow roll on, if that's what we're still doing at that time.
Yeah, and I understand, it's a big interest, putting them over there with all those tires,
It is, and potentially could, and we recognize it, again, it potentially could be a fire hazard, and we recognize that piece of, what we've talked about is, and Bobby probably, hopefully agree with me, is we could clean it up and put a lien on the property. We would never probably recover that, those dollars on that lien.
And it was a junkyard, I don't think we wanna ever.
But it is something that, we can clean it up, we put liens on property.
Sure, but you also have state and local
Right.
code enforcement. You have a lot of teeth. You just have to be willing to,
But,
yes, that's it.
and Bobby, on that end, again, and I believe TCQ's actually been out, that's part, actually TCQ's been involved, and so it's been it's always, well, it's a local issue, right? So, to that point is, the teeth are, if she doesn't clean it, she's not going to jail, I mean.
I don't know how big the problem is,
It's huge.
but if it catches fire,
it's a liability.
then we will be having a whole different other conversation if anybody else gets hurt. And I'm talking about everything from getting sick from the fumes, chemicals, onto whether the fire catches and starts burning dry grass or trees or homes and other, then, yeah, we've got a much different conversation.
I can try to bring it up.
We'll show you again, but it is, we've been.
I'll tell you what, I'll do the bike. I make a motion not to approve it until the property's clean.
There's
I
a motion on the table not to approve the property until the tires
I
are
second.
clean. I have a second by Councilwoman R. Garza. Is there any questions? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Motion passes unanimously. Yes, motion passed unanimously. Okay, thank you very much, City Secretary. Okay, item 9D, discuss and consider resolution number 20230801, authorizing the submission of a grant to the USDA Reconnect Loan and Grant Program for the expansion of broadband in the city. This is an action item. I'll call for a motion. Second, have a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman R. Garza,
Second.
second by Councilman Trevino. City Manager?
Janice is on the call.
Janice, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Welcome. This is Janice with EMC. Good to have you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor and Council and Fred for having me and letting me do this virtually. I really appreciate that. On this item 9D, seeking authorization for the city to proceed with an application to the USDA Reconnect Grant Program. This program provides funding to cities to expand broadband internet service to residential and commercial users. Access to high-speed internet support education, business development, and economic development. This program specifically will allow the city to form a public-private partnership with a qualified internet service provider. Once submitted, the USDA will determine how much financial support the city will qualify for. We are seeking a 100% grant. Local matches may be up to 20%. If approved, EMC Strategy will prepare this and submit the grant application on behalf of the city. So we really hope that you can pass this.
Yeah,
Motion to approve.
Yeah.
Okay, I did not hear it, sorry.
We got a motion and a second. I'm gonna call for any questions.
Perfect.
Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Motion passes unanimously, and this dovetails into 9E, is that correct?
Thank you.
Okay, so going on to 9E, which is a portion of this, discuss and consider authorizing the city manager to issue an RFP for a public-private partnership with communication services provided for the expansion of broadband services. So my understanding is in the event we get awarded this is gonna allow the city manager to go find that provider.
Motion to
So
approve.
that being said, I'll take a motion from Councilman Leal to approve that, a second from Councilwoman Brenda Trevino. Any questions? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Janice, is that all that you got for us this evening?
Yes, so just to clarify that if we are gonna be proposing an RFP and for the internet service for the public-private partnership. So if there's any questions in regards to that, please feel free to ask.
Okay, and just can you give us kind of a little time frame, what you're thinking, when they'd be submitted, what we could expect?
So once we already got this approved, we will be seeking to move forward with the RFP. And that way, we already have that for the grant with the USDA.
Okay, and time frame for when?
As soon as, you know, since everything got approved, we can start tomorrow writing up the grant and send Fred and the city secretary the RFP, so that way they can approve it. So the city manager can approve that RFP.
Okay, great.
And then once that's done, then we can go ahead and submit it. And I'm guessing more than about 6 months at the most, with everything already being done. With the grant, RFP, already choosing the broadband network developer.
Okay, outstanding. Well, thank you very much, Janice. As always, we appreciate your support.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Janice, speak out of that as well. Sorry.
Say that again?
Don't get off.
Okay, hang on.
Oh my God, no, I'm here.
You mean soon. All right, item 9F, discuss and approve authorizing the city manager to enter into a collaborative partnership with the Small Business Administration, USDA, VA, in support of economic development incentives. This is an action item. I'm gonna ask for a motion. Got a motion from R. Garza, got a second from Councilman Trevino. City manager? Actually, Janice, you're up again, okay?
Yes, I am. So EMC Strategy Group has been working with the Office of the Congressman Tony Gonzalez to coordinate communication between the city and select federal agencies that support economic development and other local priorities. EMC is proposing that the city authorize engaging in collaborative partnerships with the USDA to promote housing assistance program for home repair and maintenance and alternate mortgage programs for the elderly and low to middle income residents. EMC is also seeking authorization to engage with the SBA to support small business workshops, which we're already doing, and the promotion of business certification programs for women